outside when the ambulance arrived.
My 4-year-old son, Mauricio, awoke me up screaming, saying fire.
Inside this Saginaw home, Naomi Velasquez and 5 of her 6 little boys.
Seen like a orange glow, got a little bit closer, and I seen that most of the couch was on fire.
Naomi grabbed the 2 boys who were awake. She planned to come back for the other 3 once the first pair made it to safety.
I panicked and I ran outside to see if someone could help me, and there was a car and a lady had stopped.
911.
She's screaming about a baby.
A baby's in the house?
I don't know. I can't understand her.
Shanda Kelly and Brad Davis took some of the first calls that came into Saginaw County 911.
We pretty much know keywords, and I said a little bit louder, okay, you got somebody in the house.
Lisa Bremer and Audrey Coffey were also working that May morning.
That was the only major call we had going on that day, so we were all tuned in on it and all doing our part to make sure that we got help there.
Possibly a baby. She's yelling a baby in the house, possibly.
There's 2 babies. Oh,
2 babies are in the house.
Twins.
It changes it for me because now it's gone from a house fire to there's kids inside.
While some answered the numerous calls for help, others worked to get firefighters and police officers to Naomi's home.
You get used to it after a while of listening to what the other people are doing in case it's related to the call you're on. You want to make sure that you're getting enough information, or if they don't have the right information, you can ask some questions or vice versa.
While trying to piece together multiple calls, this team focused on finding out where the kids were in the house.
Where's the other one at?
I don't know. She just took off running.
I could hear one of my twins, my son Brandon, crying, and I was calling him to come to me, and he wouldn't.
Naomi went back inside, then the door shut behind her.
A huge ball of smoke and everything came towards me, and it was really hot, so I ran back out.
Early morning fires trigger something bad usually. People are sleeping, someone's going to be trapped, and sure enough, that's what it came in at. It came in as possibly kids trapped in the house.
We knew before we pulled out of this station exactly what we had, which is not always the case. And it totally, mindset-wise, Eric had already devised a plan, and we all knew what we were going to do before we got there.
Engineer Todd Dittenber only had to drive a few blocks to get this crew of 3 to the scene. Information gathered by dispatchers told Lieutenant Eric Krenz and firefighter Daniel Maldonado the kids were on the first floor.
He goes one way, I go the other way. I go into a bedroom, the smoke is thick, you can't see.
You just close your eyes and that's what we see. You're just going all by feel.
As they searched, Engineer Dittenber had his own important work outside.
I was rigging lines and getting ready in case things went bad, and did a lot of praying.
In a matter of minutes, Maldonado found 2 little boys in the bedroom.
Once I got right on the mattress, right on top of him, I could see him.
He yelled for help.
I followed his voice, came back to the room. He handed me the one child, and I immediately took the child out, and he followed.
We got them both out. We need MMR here ASAP.
That relief was short-lived.
Take a breath, we're done. And then they say, no, there's a 3rd one. And those guys, they threw the mask back on, went back in.
Back into the bedroom.
And I just happened to look over, and I see his little eyes laying on the ground. So I snatch him up, and I run him back outside.
It looked really, really bad. They were black from head to toe and not really responsive.
You take your mask off, you drop your tank, and it's just like,
3 of us just looked at each other. We met in the middle of the street, and it was just a big group hug. And then we had to get back to work.
Other firefighters arrived to help put out the fire, while medical workers checked out Naomi's 5 little boys. Some had burns, others had inhaled smoke. The 3 boys trapped inside the home had to spend some time in the hospital.
They're all doing great. They all 100% recovered.
As you can see, twins Brandon and Landon and big brother Aiden are full of life and full of energy. The twins were just 14 months at the time, while Aiden was 3. Their lungs are healed and their scars are gone. These priceless childhood moments made possible by a team of firefighters and 911 dispatchers who worked quickly, efficiently, and fearlessly.
They're our eyes and ears, obviously before we show up, they're painting a picture for us, and we couldn't do what we do without them.
It's all about team up here. We all worked very well together.
There's so many things that need to be done immediately, and so we were all doing our own part.
And to have a happy outcome is just the best thing.
Matter of minutes, I think it would have been we would be doing a different story.
I think what they do is awesome, and they save lives every day, so I'm very, very blessed and pleased that they were able to get my sons out of the house.
You might say that Marge Williams and her sister Elaine Embry have plenty in common. Not only are they twins, they're both retired nurses.
Once a nurse, always a nurse.
That philosophy was put to the test last November when the two were dining at a Frankenlust Township restaurant.
We were sitting here at Burgers, having dinner with our friend, and we saw this gal bring her mother, elderly mother, in a wheelchair, and was feeding her so lovingly. I was really impressed with how kind she was to her mother.
That admiration quickly turned into concern when the sisters realized that something terrible was happening.
All of a sudden there was a panic look on her face, and I saw her pull out her cell phone and hit it 3 times. So I said to Elaine, there's something wrong. She just called 911.
Even though Marge and Elaine had both left the nursing field several years ago, their natural instincts to help still kicked in.
Elaine was closest to her, and she immediately got up and went over, and the girl said, my mother coughed a little, and now she's not responding.
Elaine quickly sprang into action.
Very easily got her out of the wheelchair and onto the floor. Somebody else that was at the restaurant came and moved a table out of the way, and I started doing CPR.
While Elaine began giving chest compressions, Marge joined her and started to administer mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
We continued until the ambulance got here. It takes a while for the ambulance to get out to Frankenlust Township. That's why we did both compressions and respirations, because she couldn't go that long without oxygen.
Once the paramedics arrived and took over, the twins turned their attention to the woman's daughter.
Here's the poor daughter who's just like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What's happening? So we sat with her, held her hand, gave her a hug, and explained to her what was happening. They injected, some adrenaline to the heart. They shocked her a few times.
Medics were able to get an electrical response and transported the woman to the hospital. Unfortunately, she didn't survive.
We just did what came naturally. It would have been nice had she been in better health and had we been able to pull her through, but that's just what nurses do.
Elaine actually ran into the daughter several weeks later and learned just how much the family appreciated their efforts.
I met the daughter at Yonkers, and she was with her sister. And so she introduced me to her sister, and she told her sister, this is one of the ladies that worked on Mom at Burgers. And so they both gave me a hug.
And as for being called heroes, Marge Williams and Elaine Embry prefer to think their actions were just part of what they were trained to do.
It's nothing heroic. We were there right next to her. We saw that she was in trouble. We saw the panicked look on her daughter's face, and we reacted.
He was saving my life. That's all I knew.
That's how 12-year-old Jessica Shireen looks at her hero, Brian Martindale. 2.5 years ago, Jessica started noticing pain in her lower back. In the coming months, it got worse.
All I felt was my back hurt, and it hurt so bad.
Almost a year later, a blood test finally found the reason.
We didn't even get home, and they were calling to get us back for an emergency ultrasound. That was on a Friday. Tuesday morning, we were in Ann Arbor and was told that she got a very rare form of kidney disease. Basically, it was devastating.
Jessica needed a new kidney, and fast, or face a life of dialysis or even death. Her mom's kidney wasn't a match, and Jessica was getting weaker, all pushing Stacy to desperation.
I was drinking a cup of coffee and I looked over by my computer desk and there was a big bright pink paper. And I thought to myself, well, excuse the language, all these bums can go on the corner and beg for money. I don't want money, I want a part. So I sat down with a marker and wrote out, please help. My daughter's 10 and I can't lose her.
She spent 5 hours standing on a Bay City street corner holding this sign.
There was a lot of people that offered money at the time just on the corner, but I kept, no, I want a kidney. I want everybody to take me serious. You got an extra kidney, I'll take that. A lot of people looked at you like you were totally nuts.
She got the attention of the Bay City Times in this article a week later.
We got 17 calls in one day.
I picked up the newspaper that day, and Jessica's story was on the front page of the Bay City Times.
Brian Martindale owns Karma Inc. apparel in Bay City and knew instantly he had to help. He was one of those 17 calls to Jessica's mom.
I never identified myself, but I had to know first of all that she was the same blood type. I knew that much. She was.
He immediately and confidentially went through testing. 3 weeks later, Brian got the word. He was Jessica's direct match.
As I felt from the beginning it was meant to be. You know, after testing and finding out it was her match, I didn't even realize we only lived 4 blocks apart in Bay City. So that was a miracle in itself.
It was the day before Thanksgiving.
I'll never forget it. I fell to my knees and I think I screamed so loud. I'm surprised Brian didn't hear me because he lives so close.
They had a kidney even before Jessica was legally on the donor list. Within the next week, the community was rallying behind them, holding this fundraiser to help with mounting medical bills. All the while, the clock is ticking on Jessica's condition.
I've noticed she's getting weaker and paler looking. I want her color to come back.
Little did they know at this fundraiser, her anonymous donor was there.
I sold shirts at that benefit that night, and they met them, but they did not know I was the donor, even though I knew I was the donor.
Jessica's story was going viral when a friend of Brian's at CNN asked to do a story about them. He knew it was time to come clean. They met to do an interview.
And then I was shocked because, hey, you were at the fundraiser.
I really knew at that point that this had to be. We had to go through with this.
A month and a half later, Jessica had her new kidney.
Then I saw her 2 days afterwards, and what a difference to see somebody 48 hours after, getting a healthy kidney, and the color in her, and just made it all worthwhile, just that moment of seeing her.
She seems to be improving all the time.
Brian was flying high too, seeing the immediate change in Jessica, forgetting the seriousness of the major surgery he'd just gone through.
I donated my kidney on a Friday and I was back in my business on a Tuesday. So I kind of overdid it at first.
Between going back to work too soon and the stress of trying to keep his business going, Brian developed a bleeding stress ulcer and couldn't work full time. He'd have to close his store. This time, Jessica and her family come to his rescue, holding several fundraisers to help. After 4 months, he's back to normal and is now partnering with Jessica to spread the word about kidney donations.
The name of our film project is Share Your Spare. It's a saying that goes along with, obviously kidneys. We all have a spare, and a lot of us are physically able to share it.
I'm better now, and Brian's better, and he gave his kidney to me, so you should give kidneys to other children and adults, so then they can have a better life.
Jessica has a piece of Brian in him that gave her life back, and my life back. I must have told him thank you 1,000 times, but thank you just doesn't cover it. He's a living angel. He'll always be my hero, always be Jessica's hero.
Did you know Santa Claus sometimes wears camouflage? When he's on a very special mission in mid-Michigan, it's the only outfit he packs.
Everybody that hears this broadcast can give at least $1. That's all Santa asked, $1.
And that $1 can go a long way with the help of Santa's elves.
Any soldier that is not home for Christmas deserves to have something. They don't have to be in Afghanistan and Iraq. They just have to be away from their families serving, and we make sure that they're taken care of.
While the Yellow Ribbon Guard is hard at work year-round, the organization is best known for its signature event dubbed Send Santa to the Troops. It all starts in November when it's time to stuff the bus.
Oh, thank you! We saw they were doing it, and we thought it was important, so Brandon Myers loaded up and brought it over.
Jim Arnst also donated.
I just think that these guys need a pat on the back because it's a tough job sometimes out there.
This Navy vet vividly remembers what it felt like to get mail from home.
I'll tell you what, you look forward to it. When the cookies come and you're at sea and, you know, it makes a huge difference, a really huge difference. Thank you, sir.
A lot of Vietnam vets give back. They want our troops to feel the appreciation they didn't get. Others are complete strangers, while some have loved ones they miss dearly.
I have a grandson that's in, and he's been to Afghanistan twice.
Thank you, we can't do it without you.
Every year, the Guard is humbled when it's time to stuff the bus, or in this case, a military vehicle.
People that don't have anything to give, they stop by, they sign a Christmas card for us to be able to put into those boxes because those things mean a lot too.
Are you getting full?
But this is just the beginning.
It looks like chaos from the outside, but it's an organized chaos.
After the snack food, games, toiletries, and any other imaginable taste of home is collected, Santa's helpers head to the National Guard Armory in Bay County.
We have everything lined up, everything's ready to go, boxes are made.
We give you a box with an address. You make it personal. You put whatever you think that person might need.
In 2013 alone, well over 1,000 packages were shipped, costing about $17,000 in postage.
Just to bring home that 2 seconds of peace, solitude, whatever it provides the soldier, each person, it's different. But just to be able to do that makes everything that we go through to make Santa worth it.
Melissa Alex is well aware of the sacrifices our military members make. She spent 10 years as an Army wife before her husband, Staff Sergeant Eugene Alex, was killed in Iraq in 2006.
I think it's just a healing process, you know? Nothing better than to give back to the ones that you love.
Not surprisingly, Travis George has a personal reason for giving back as well.
I pretty much got a package every month for my wife. There's people that are in the military that don't get that. There's people that get excited when they get a cell phone bill. That's their mail call.
Thanks to these amazing volunteers, it's not bills, but carefully crafted gift boxes that arrive on military bases far away from mid-Michigan, just when our brave men and women are missing home the most. Members of the Yellow Ribbon Guard consider sending Santa to the troops their most important mission.
It might come close, but every year the community comes through and we're able to make Christmas happen for these guys.
People that we get the most donations out of, we almost know that they probably can't afford it. And they're the ones that drive us to do what we do.